Hello there, my name is SMDBZX Productions, and welcome to part 2 of What If Issei Had the Omnitrix. Now, I wasn't actually expecting this to do as good as it is doing. Like, honestly, I just kind of expected to do one part, and then maybe do another part if I get bored. Essentially, at this point, I'm just doing what ifs for fun instead of viewership, because the only thing getting views was my Dragon Ball Z X Neptunia series. But if people are enjoying this, then hell yeah, you know, I'll do more. I've been thinking about doing the inverse situation of giving Ben, the Red Dragon Emperor. But that what if doesn't really work because the amount of strength you need to access different levels of RDE is outside of a human's capability in Ben 10. So I would have to change things around if that were the case. But yeah, you know, maybe I will do it. I'll give it a try, maybe. I'm not sure. That's before we get on to the what if, actually, I do have something I want to say, something related to the story. You see, this gets more difficult than it was from the beginning. For the most part, a lot of DxD's events, at least through the eyes of Issei, are ignited because of Rainier killing him. Thus, him not only living, but damn near killing Rainier causes some problems. So as we go on, the story might get a little bit fanficky, and we might just have to do things for the sake of convenience if we want the what if to go on. But I'll let you know when those things are. The second thing is that I have not read the light novel, or the manga, or whatever the source material for DxD is. This is because 9 out of 10 times, when you read the original source material, the anime is ruined. Now, because DxD was one of the first anime I ever watched, and I've been watching it since middle school lunch period, yes, I watched it at middle school, in the lunchroom. Don't make a big deal out of it, because I never got in trouble, because no one ever noticed. I don't want to ruin the show. And you might be wondering why I brought this up. Why is this important? Well, a friend of mine informed me of a pretty significant plot hole that, you know, they didn't inform me while I was working on it. They only informed me after I released the video. Because it comes from the original source material, I had no point of knowing about this, and I have already released part 1, obviously, because this is part 2. So, we're going to ignore that until it comes up, if it ever comes up, because I can do that. Anyway, let's finally get on to the what if here. Our story will start off going into the next day, while his friends are curious of why he has a watch all of a sudden, and no one remembers Rainier at all. But he knows it was real because he still has the Omnitrix. He definitely wasn't having a panic-induced dream. At least, if it was, he could say that it was a wet dream turned into action. But he has the Omnitrix, so he knows he met Rainier, but no one else knows who Rainier is. So Issei would go along the day just weirded out. It's as if nothing happened. Later, he would go back to the park to make sure the fountain was fixed. There wasn't a speck of blood anywhere, and he was very confused. If she would have at least had blood, and there's no way they fixed the fountain that fast. He left her in a pretty injured state, so even if she got away, there would be some amount of blood in the area. While Issei was at said park, he was confronted by none other than Donasik. Donasik? I honestly don't remember how to pronounce his name, I'm not gonna lie. Now, you could make the argument that Donasik, which is how I'm going to pronounce it, wouldn't show up to attack Issei since he isn't a devil here in this what if. However, I'm going to say that he was in the area and that he heard Rainier got her ass kicked, and due to his arrogance, he'd be questioning her power and decided to go check out Issei himself, you know, prove he was the top fallen asshat. Although, that hat of his, you know, it's a pretty snazzy top hat if I do say so myself. Issei pulls out his Omnitrix and picks out a new alien. Figuring this guy was just a copycat of the last fallen angel, he decided to pick a cool looking alien, something that looks strong. Issei messed with the dial and eventually found the new alien he was looking for. A large dog humanoid creature with a mane and a bushy tail. It also had a split jaw with a black and white bodysuit. Issei transformed into the alien and yells out, "Lycanthrope!" Lycanthrope is actually Blitzwolfer, which is my favorite alien, by the way. I love Blitzwolfer. But Issei, of course, calls him by a different name. I forgot to put a thing at the end of the video last episode showing off a list of what he calls what aliens. But, I will put that at the end of this episode. I promise. Donasik is caught off guard by the strangest sacred gear he's ever seen before Blitzwolfer opens his mouth and fires a sonic howl at Donasik. Now, these sound waves are able to do physical damage and even propel Blitzwolfer into the air, which Blitzwolfer does, so he can gain some ground and jump on him before Donasik can fly away. Putting his claws into Donasik's face, he stomps Donasik back into the ground. Donasik would start punching Blitzwolfer in the stomach, however Blitzwolfer grabs him and throws him back into the air. Blitzwolfer would then fire another sonic howl to do some more damage and make Donasik recoil, before disappearing. The fallen angel tried to make a spear of light, however Blitzwolfer had disappeared, and Donasik flew back into the darkness of the trees. This was a mistake, as Blitzwolfer has night vision, and somewhat blends in. So Blitzwolfer jumps out and pins Donasik down. Blitzwolfer starts questioning Donasik, and was confirmed that he is in fact a fallen angel. He also learned that there are many more in town. However, he wouldn't tell Blitzwolfer where their base of operations was. With that, he settled by throwing him into the forest, probably slamming him through a tree or something, and deforming back to Issei. He was done for the night and decided to head home, where he would have a good night's rest, unlike before. The next day, Issei was chilling out in the schoolyard, finding trouble but not looking too hard. Class never taught him about that. All of a sudden, a boy started approaching them, making all the girls start geeking out and yelling and jealousy, anger, and flirtiness, horniness, who knows really. Issei just looked over and groaned, just like I would, however. "Oh great, what do you want, Golden Nuts?" Issei asked the boy who approached him. "Well, that's not very nice, Issei," Golden Nuts would reply, which I'm calling Golden Nuts just because it's fun to say. I am an immature child. "You know me?" Issei asks in response to Golden Nuts, aka Kiba, if you haven't figured out, telling him that he knows his name. Kiba explains to Issei that Rias Gremory had invited him to her household in reference to the Occult Research Club. Not her actual household, though he did indirectly mean that. Obviously, the mixture of Issei's mind and hormones would immediately tell him, hell yeah! But then that tiny part of his mind that is uncorrupted crept in. He really did have better places to be. Blitzwolfer had a really good sense of smell, and so did Wrath actually, and he could possibly track the scent of the fallen angels. It'd be helpful in finding them after all. But then again, Rias had no reason to be interested in, from what he's known as during school, a completely talentless mega pervert. So he decided to go with Kiba instead, out of interest, curious what's going on here. Once there, Rias would inform Issei that she was aware that he found some fallen angels. They would then show Issei, so he's not suspicious that they're fallen angels themselves, that they were all devils. She was interested in his sacred gear and wanted him to join her. Issei had no idea what a sacred gear was, but he was well aware that the Omnitrix was an alien device, as he's met Azimuth before. He didn't mention that part to them, but he did decline their offer and walked off. He had thought they were comparable to the fallen angels, and if that were the case, and they did cause him trouble, he could beat them whatsoever. After all, they couldn't be that much stronger than the fallen angels. They're practically the same thing. Rias was shocked that he refused her offer, but she was confident he'd join eventually. She just needed to push some buttons and find out what he wanted. Knowing him though, she figured that'd be pretty easy. The next morning comes around and Issei speed bumps into Asia. Asia. No, seriously, why is her name spelt the same way as the country but pronounced differently? Did they really want to make the joke that badly? I'm not that cool. Probably. Issei would, anyway, guide the innocent blonde to the church. He still learns about her healing power, however. He doesn't lose his shit when he does. Nor does he care about the cross on her neck, since he's not a devil and he doesn't have a sacred gear. Thus, his body isn't spazzing out. And in fact, this what if is going to accelerate into overdrive, okay? Because Issei is going into the church. I was thinking about not doing this, but the more I thought about it, Issei doesn't have a reason to not follow her in the church. In fact, since he's following up on fallen angels, it's a church, he wasn't told to avoid it, he realistically has more reason to go in there. So, there's also the fact that he may have a stronger will, but he's still a pervert, and there's a cute blonde that he's interested in. So, you know, that kind of plays a part in it. So, that will be it for this episode. Thank you for watching. My name is SMDBZX Productions. Subscribe if you like if you want, dislike if you like hamburgers, because I hate them. I will find you in your sleep. Goodbye.